What is transactional analysis? Well, it's a way of finding out about yourself and finding out how sometimes when we have a transaction, when we, what's the word? Interact with people, how we can change that so that our reactions are different and so the outcome is different. But I had to teach you, first of all, parent, adult, child. And what I wanted you to do, if you want to join in, if you want to do this, is to find out whether you're mostly in child or mostly in adult or mostly in parent, or how you fluctuate. And we all need to fluctuate, and we can help ourselves through going into those three ego states. So I was talking to someone this week, and she felt very worried about something, very worried. And I said, how does child feel? Your child ego state. Oh, she said, I want someone with me. I want someone with me. I feel worried. I said, okay. Again, listen. Don't say that's silly. Listen. Okay. What would controlling parents say? You must be able to do this on your own. That's silly. What would nurturing parents say? Oh, is there anyone that could help you? Can I help you? How can I help? What would adults say? Adult would say, well, what are the choices? What are the choices here? And so this person looked at her choices, decided on the choice she wanted to make. Child felt okay because nurturing parent was saying, that's okay. You know, you could get in touch with this person or you could get in touch with that person. That might help. An adult said, well, do what you feel is right. You make the choice. Let's look at the choices, the here and now. But first of all, to get to that conclusion, she had to listen to child. And that's the best way of finding out how we're feeling, because child often lets us know, as do our, literal children. You'll always know how your child's feeling. Or they'll stamp their feet, they'll shout and they'll scream. Listen, what are they telling you? What's going on? Yeah, and so that's what we can do for ourselves. So those ego states are very, very helpful. So TA, it's this theory of personality, and it's a theory that helps us grow as individuals and change as individuals. Do you remember those? The synapses. We can make new ones and we can change. But first of all, we've got to learn. So I'm hoping you understand the parent, adult, child now. So imagine you're sitting reading a book and I come into the room and I say, hi there. And you say, hi. We've just completed a transaction. In TA, transactional analysis, that is a transaction. Hi. And that's what we all felt. We felt bereft, a little bit bereft in lockdown, didn't we? When we couldn't transact so much because we were in lockdown. We could only, and if we lived on our own, our transactions, we need these transactions to keep alive, to know that we're alive, to function. So it's a kind of communication. And what we do is we analyze these communications and we see where we can change and how we can change. And we use the ego states to help us to do that. So just supposing I'm going to just leave it here and I'm just going to say, what's the time? And you say 1 o'clock. Well, 1 o'clock. Adult to adult. Now, supposing I ask you in adult, what's the time? And you reply in controlling parent, 1 o'clock. You're late again. That's completely different now. We've put ourselves in a completely different stance. We've got a response back to our transaction that was different to what we thought. Now, when we get the response we think we're going to get, we know where we are. Adult to adult. I call it the train track. We can carry on there, even if it's parent to parent. We can carry on there, even if it's child to child. We know where we are. But when someone switches, that can throw us like that. Have you ever felt that jolt in the middle of a conversation and something's changed? And that's what we're going to look at during our next part of transactional analysis. Yeah. Because just to show you, that person who comes back in parent, they don't want you to stay in adult. What's the time? What's the time? You're late again. They want you to go into child. They're pushing you into child. And we're going to talk a lot more about this. And so then they're hoping you're going to come back with, oh, sorry. Whereas you were an adult, they've come back in parent. And they want to push you in child. Do you remember? Or can you see it? It's faded. Parent, adult, child. What's the time? 1 o'clock. What's the time? Aimed there, but they come back in parent. Time? You're late again. Wants to push you into child, where you say, oh, sorry. Now, when you become aware of all of this, you can change. You don't have to react from child. You can choose where to react from. And that gives us, it's a whole different being. It's a whole different way of communicating. And we learn about ourselves and we have the capacity to change. So I'm going to leave it there. But transactional analysis, it's all about how we transact. Those transactions, we call them transactions, how we can learn about why we come from child. Why would, Pete wouldn't go into child like that. He'd go into rebellious child. If someone said, 1 o'clock, you're late again, he'd say, no, I'm not. It's his default system, isn't it? Well, not much. I'd go, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, adapted child. He comes back from rebellious child. But of course, I've learnt to come back from adult now. An adult would be completely different. And then the conversation would carry on in a completely different way. So just a flavour of what transactional analysis and how we're just at the beginning, just past the front cover really.